Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about and looking at initial Warlock Embellishment Sims. Now, I put a nice banner up here for you guys. Do not use sparks. I would not use your spark that you obtained today in game. For those that aren't aware, there's a quest today that popped up that took your half spark and made it a full spark, or gave you 2 half shards, whatever. Do not use the spark. We're going to elaborate more on that in a minute here in the video, but want to cover briefly here weak course add-ons. You want them, links down below, Twitch and Discord for free. And yeah, I'll link the sims down below for these embellishment sims, but I want to mention and clarify and emphasize these are the first sims that have been run for embellishments. Malakath ran demo sims. These do match his. I don't think anybody's run AF ones or Destra ones. They could change, may change, will possibly likely change. Don't take it for word, or don't take it word for word. Don't craft anything, but if you want to know where things are at, this is roughly where they might be. I also want to mention that sims for items that have embellishments on them already, like Dusk Thread and Dawn Thread, or no, Dusk Weave, the two-piece set, like Chronicloth and Azure Weave, those are not implemented in Simcraft from what I've heard and what I've seen, so we don't have those results yet. But once again, regardless, cool to see, do not use sparks. So yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, so very briefly here, for those that don't know where to get your second spark half from, or where to get your full spark from, I am right here in Doringal. This map week war is in my Wago. It is not mine. It links to theirs if you want it. Once again, down below, week wars, all that kind of stuff. It is right here. I am sitting right here. It is down here at this catalyst guy. You go here, he says, yo, give me your half spark. I'll give you 2 half sparks. Talk to him. 10 seconds later, you're rolling out with a full spark. It's sitting somewhere in my bags. I don't know where, but it's in here somewhere, I promise. There it is. My bags look great. Okay, so I want to get into these sims, but I also want to emphasize that once again, things will likely change. These are the first sims I've seen run for Warlock Embellishments outside of Malakath running demo sims. I could be wrong there, but I haven't seen any. My demo sims match his results. These do indeed appear to be post Dark Moon buffs, which do indeed affect the sigils. We'll get to that in a minute here. They might change. Don't put everything into these. It's over here, bottom of the screen. Do not use sparks. If you already have, it's not the end of the world, but you want to hold them in case Blizzard buffs things, nerfs things, changes things. A million things can happen. There's just no reason to use sparks now. You're crafting for heroic dungeons that you can basically solo. There's no reason to use them now. I know it's exciting and all that, but you want to hold as late as possible. I probably won't use mine until Mythic opens, the Mythic raid, like a month from now, because there's no reason to do so. Wait for sims to be done, all that, things to change, buffs and nerfs, and then go from there. I also want to mention here that set bonuses or set embellishments like Woven, Dusk, and Dawn and all that, the ones that have embellishments basically already on them, like this set here, do not appear to be in Simcraft. I asked some people, I said the same thing, not in Simcraft yet. So this set is not simming properly for anything here. So once again, keep that in mind. Not fully implemented all that here, but most things look to be. Now, one thing interesting about this is that it looks like we very well may have 2 full sparks going into the raid, because, let me zoom in a bit here. We have 1 whole spark now, and I'm venturing to guess we might get a quest next week, like we did this week for a half a spark, doing world quests or dungeons or whatever. And then the week after, which would be the week of heroic raid opening, we probably get the quest again for another whole half spark. So you get 2 sparks total. If that's the case, this set here, which once again is not simming properly from what I understand, is of more relevance. Now, not saying it's gonna be great or anything or even good, I don't know. But sets like this, like Chronicloth and Azure Weave in the past, you've needed 2 pieces to enable the effect. And if you just crafted gloves like this, you don't get anything. It was a waste of an embellishment. You wouldn't use it in early prog. You wouldn't see it in a race to world first setting. But with having 2 sparks, this is actually like your best bet for whatever reason. That opens up this set potentially as a possibility if we do get 2 sparks. We don't know. We're going to see. But keep that in mind looking at these. This is not implemented from what I see. And we'll go from there. Okay, so getting into this, once again, don't use sparks, and all may change. I have simmed Affliction, Demo, Destro here, all just the highest performing hero talents. Demo might be Diabolist, I don't know. These sims here are just single embellishment sims. I have dual ones here as well on Top Gear. We'll get to that in a minute, but I wanted to sim each embellishment embellishment individually to show just the raw power level and all of that. So what we have here, we're looking at Affliction first. I have Elemental Focusing Lens simming the highest here. Focusing Lens, your spells basically do damage on this, and the magic school chosen is based on your gems. I don't believe it changes or does more damage based on gems you have out. It's just, hey, it does damage. Now, for Affliction, you have Haunt and Shadow's Embrace. Those increase all your damage. You know, trinket damage, damage procs. It works on things like Elemental Focusing Lens. Now, the positive here, I mean, you have those, right? This is your highest simming one, it looks like currently. But the negative is that this is a more or less looks to be a single target embellishment like Shadow Flame, where, you know, it's good in patchwork, but if you sim it in AoE, there's no relevancy there. It doesn't proc it. It'll proc an AoE, but it's on one target, right? So keep that in mind. Now, putting that aside, the next highest here is a Dark Moon Sigil. This is Symbiosis. I've heard this is simming higher in Sims. I'm going to put it aside for now. We'll come back to that. But Dark Moon Sigils, basically what you do, you take a Dark Moon card, which I think I might even have in game. I do. One of these as a scribe, and you just take it and you break it down. And you make it into an embellishment. You can put it on a weapon. I have them right here. And these are the Sims. So we have Symbiosis here. I put this aside for now. It might be bugged. I don't know. Once again, all for a grain of salt here. So we're going to go down to this here, basically being number 2. We have Dawn Thread Lining. And then right behind it, we have Dark Moon Sigil Ascension. Ascension is the one that gives a stacking stat. It is not 300k stat. It is just a tooltip bug. It is what it is. If it was 300k, it would not be losing to Dawn Thread Lining and Focusing Lens. So Dark Moon Sigil Ascension goes on a weapon. These Dark Moon Sigils go on weapons only. Only weapons. Main hand or offhand. They cannot go on like trinkets or rings or any armor. It's weapons only. So that's important to keep in mind. Right around here, we have Dawn Thread Lining. This gives you more crit when you're above 80% health. This is similar to Blue Silken Lining that we had in Dragonflight, right? Blue Silken Lining, though, was, I believe, a 90% health threshold that it would stop triggering at if you fell below that. You have Dawn Thread Lining here and Dusk Thread Lining here. This is verse, this is crit. They're all, you know, close-ish, give or take. These 3 sims, for all the specs you're going to see, are simming at a 61.4% uptime for Dawn Thread and Dawn Thread and Dusk Heart, which is like a pretty okay place to start for prog. Some fights it's higher, some fights it's lower. Nora Root in the raid, last one, whatever, the tree, was 90% roughly in most, you know, kills on kind of stuff. Firac, I saw 40%, I saw 30%. So a lot of variance there. But effects like this, you know, Duskweave, crit and burst effects, I mean, those have AoE, universal relevancy, right? But things like Focusing Lens don't. So, you know, keep that in mind when we're looking at this, but things like Dark Moon Deck Ascension or Dark Moon Sigil Ascension also have that universal relevancy proccing, secondary stats, all of that. So, Affliction, Focusing Lens, Dark Moon Sigil Symbiosis, Dark Moon Sigil Symbiosis. Gonna put this aside, might be bugged. So, Focusing Lens, Dawn Thread Lining, Ascension, which we have on our offhand here. Dusk Thread Lining, and a handful of other things down here. Other sigils, like, you know, random things, nothing too crazy. So AF looking like Focusing Lens and single target, but honestly, I would likely lean towards Ascension or a Dawn Thread Lining more or less. Moving on to Demonology, the highest simming individual embellishment, Dark Moon Sigil Ascension. Once again, the weapon one, the stacking stat damage effect, right? Now, right below this, about 2k, we have Blessed Weapon Grip, which gives you a low chance to basically give you 10 stacks, something like that, of your secondary stats, whatever. I don't know. If it's good, you'll play it. Another stacking stat increase, right? To a similar extent, this can also only go on weapons. This one here, Blessed Weapon Grip, right? Makes sense. And Dark Moon Sigils can only go on weapons. Number 3 here, we have Symbiosis again. Also, could still be bugged. I'm not sure. Putting it aside, but either way, in 3rd here, we have Dark Moon Sigil number 1, Blessed Weapon Grip number 2, Elemental Focusing Lens number 3, but also single target relevancy. This sim twice. Don't worry about it. It's the same thing. We have Dark Moon Decks coming in here, Dusk Thread and Dawn Thread here. A bit lower overall, like relevancy value-wise. Looking at the highest, you know, embellishment here. About a 6k difference here compared to AF being, let's see, I don't know, 3.8k roughly, give or take, a bit less here. So not as good for demo as it is AF, but still, you know, there's a possibility. Simming is 60%. A couple more things here and there, pocket grenades, whatever, all pretty mediocre. And this set also not working currently in Sims, but it is there when it's working. We'll look at it, right? So For Demonology, you've got Ascension, Weapon Grip, and Lens, right? But big thing to bring home here, Ascension on top for Demo. And basically pretty close to being on top also, right here for Affliction. Very close, right? Okay, so moving on to Destruction. Ascension, followed by Symbiosis. Once again, might be bugged. Even if it's not, put it aside, whatever, now it's good. But Darkman Sigil Ascension, once again, on top. Once again, only goes on weapons, main hand or offhand, right? Third overall here, Elemental Focusing Lens, Dawn Thread Lining, Weapon Grip, Dusk Thread Lining, and a handful of random things at a non-implemented set down here. So there's a universal, I guess, embellishment here for the most part. Obviously, Focusing Lens is, you know, pretty high up here too. It's third for Destro, third or second, depending how you want to look at it. It's relatively high for Demonology too, third or second, whatever how you want to look at it here. And same thing also here as well. A little lower, actually, or sorry, a little higher here for AF. But honestly, Ascension is pretty strong across the board. If you remove this, it's third highest for AF, and it's highest for Demonology, highest for Destro. It's only being beat by Focusing Lens, essentially, and Dawn Thread Lining being the same thing, basically. And Focusing Lens, once again, has the bonus of Haunt and Shadow's Embrace modifiers for Affliction, pushing it higher, but also, once again, single target-based embellishment. This is Shadow Flame. This is basically Shadow Flame compared to old Blue Silken Lining, where it had, like, you know, Blue Silken had that relevancy everywhere. Shadow Flame was a little better in single target, but only in single target, and plus everything had much less value. So what we're seeing here, if these are right, they could be wrong, I don't know. Malakath's Demo Sims match these as well. Ascension looks to be on top, but these are all solo Embellishment Sims, right? Let's look at Top Gear. So Top Gear for Affliction, we're playing Soul Harvester here in single target. The highest combination we have here, Ascension, Ascendance, whatever, and Writhing Armor Banding. Equip embraces the darkness, doubling the effects of your Nerubian embellished item, positive and negative. For some reason, this is a Nerubian embellishment. It's a Darkwind deck. I don't know why. Apparently, this is the only one that's a Nerubian one, is Ascendance. So, if you're looking at, you know, these Sims here compared to, like, Vivacity, or I think it's Vivacity, what's it called? Symbiosis, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, let me see. Yeah, see, Nerubian, not Nerubian. Not Nerubian, and not Nerubian. This is Nerubian for some reason. This just says, hey, you've got this thing. It's now twice as strong. It doubles the effect from what I understand. So you're basically playing two of these with this equipped. So the highest, so obviously this bumps, you know, these down a bit more, the Symbiosis one, so on and so forth. The highest combination here for Affliction looks to be Ascendance and, you know, Writhing Armor Banding. You can put banding on, you know, other pieces too, not just like boots, right? Now this is also Affliction based. So if you go down a bit more here, there are some similar combinations. This is Focusing Lens again here on boots, and this is, I believe this is I think this is the this is Symbiosis, I'm pretty sure, the other card effect, right? But once again, single target focused and might be bugged, we're not even sure. Once again, regardless, Ascendance and Nerubian on top. Going down more, you can see more things. Once again, Focusing Lens, other combinations of staffs if you want to dig through here a bunch. I'm sure there's Dawn Thread and things in here too. It's sort of hard to see with a million different items being simmed and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so Ascendance and Binding on top. Moving on to Demonology. Same thing. Ascendance, Binding. Banding, I'm sorry, on top. Looking down more here for Demonology as well. This is Demo, right? Yeah. You've also got Vivacity here. I keep calling it Vivacity. It's Symbiosis. It's the other Darkmoon deck, but it's not. Yeah, it's not as good. You're playing basically this. It's actually playing this with boots, which seems weird. I think this is just bugged, honestly. But either way, I don't know. It could be wrong. But regardless, this is on top with armor banding. If you go down more, you start to see other things as well, which, let me see, we go down more, yeah, Focusing Lens right here, which does sort of, you know, replicate what things are looking like. You see Ascension, Focusing Lenses right here, Symbiosis, it looks very similar, right? And finally, getting into this, we have Demo, we have AF, and we have Destro also wanting Ascendance and Writhing Armor Banding, right? And also to clarify, this is the same thing, it's just the same sim running twice. Same boots, nothing changes here. That's the same case for basically all of these. The boots are the same, just, you know, a bit of margin of error. But yeah, the same thing. Ascendance and Writhing Armor Banding, right? Go down more here, you see Focusing Lens here, basically playing Ascendance with Focusing Lens, a 3k loss, honestly, yeah. So the good thing about this is that looking at all 3 specs here, if these are right, which they could be wrong, I don't know. Keep it in mind. They look to be correct, but things may change. They may buff and nerf things. Things may change in Sims. It looks to be every spec wants the same thing. Ascendance or whatever. Writhing Armor Banding, right? Which works everywhere. It's good. It is a Ascendance, is basically a secondary stat proc effect. It is the exact same thing you're playing on your Dark Moon card if you're playing it in game. And this thing just says, hey, you got this? Cool. It's now twice as strong, from what I understand. So there you go. Now, positives to that. Good in single target. Good in AoE. Relevancy across the board. Mythic Plus, rating, whatever you want. It's good everywhere, right? It's not like Shadow Flame or Focusing Lens, which is the current enchant, here, that is good only in single target and loses a lot of value in AoE. This is good everywhere. Universal relevancy, good for Destro, for Demo, for Aff, all the same. Now, the downside here, and this is also why I emphasize again, do not use sparks for a handful of reasons. Number one, I made a 590 staff, which doesn't take a spark anymore. It doesn't take a spark. I made it a few days ago. I wouldn't use sparks regardless. But the big thing here is that Ascendance only goes on weapons. It can go main hand or offhand. So it puts you in an odd spot of what do I do when the raid opens during Heroic Week, Mythic Week, and all that? Because you might be thinking, oh, I'll make a staff. That's fine. But staves take 2 sparks to make. So you might have 2 sparks opening for the raid, but you're not going to want to use 2 sparks on a staff and have 1 embellishment again, because you can't make your boots then with that armor banding on it, right? So you're going to be in a spot where you're going to have to figure out, you want to make it on a main hand or an offhand. Now, crafting a main hand will bring you, this is like a BIS item, it's 639, it's from the final boss. If you craft a main hand, it'll be 636. It's whatever. It's a few levels lower, not a big deal. The embellishment is worth it. Now, the thing is, long term, it's better to play this, because you'll get this in the long run. This is Mythic Queen Answer. You're not going to get it for a while. Crafting a main hander, look at the stats here. 11,000 intellect versus 5.6, right? Obviously, a bit of an eye level disparity, 3 levels here. That's not 5k int. Crafting the main hand at 636 pound per pound, going into the raid, will give you more value than crafting an offhand does. But the question is, if you loot a main hand from the raid, say it's 620, whatever it goes to in Heroic or something like that, 625, is it better to craft the offhand and complete the set, have the main hand ready to go, so you don't got to worry about finding a main hand or finding an offhand, and just say, hey, cool, I can make Ascendance, I got 1 of 2 pieces, I completed the combo, getting, either a main hand or offhand, I can fill the other hole with the crafted piece, and then say, all right, cool, I can make boots or bracers or belt, whatever, and put this thing on, put writhing armor on one of those pieces. So that's going to be the challenge, is that, we've often looked for staves in the raid, but if we do go with Ascendance, you're going to want to find something. You're going to want to find either a main hand or an offhand from the raid, M+, your vault, something like that, that can fill one of those 2 slots, and say, all right, cool, I'm going to craft the other with Ascendance on it. Then cool, you're good to go. If you're like me, you'll have bad luck and not loot either and be stuck with some weird embellishment because, hey, it's my luck. But that's the only weird gray area. It shouldn't be that bad. We're doing a split run this tier anyways, so I shouldn't have that much of an issue. But that'll be the weird, finicky part, because you can't really craft the staff because that costs 2 sparks. So that is that. Keep that in mind. Once again, this binding can go anywhere if you want. And honestly, if it all comes down to it and stuff, man, and you're really scuffed on your things, depending what you're doing, I mean, I could see some possibly just saying, hey, look, I'm going to play Dawn Thread Lining if I'm playing AF only. I'm going to play Focusing Lens for some other things here and there. But this does indeed appear to be the highest simming combination. It's good in single target. It's good in AoE. But once again, I want to emphasize, I'm sorry I'm a broken record here, but I just got to hit on this a million times. Someone's going to yell at me. This may change. But I wanted to wait longer on these Sims, but I got to run them. I got guides to make. I got a week and a half till the raid comes out. They might change. Things will change. This set will be implemented at some point. Where is it? This thing. And once again, keep in mind, if we do have 2 sparks the day the raid opens on heroic or even mythic when it becomes relevant, you can essentially craft this set and complete the 2-piece for mythic prog, which has never been the case before. So if this is actually good, it might bump all this out of the way. We don't know. It likely won't, but we're not sure. So keep all that in mind. Grain of salt, but know that currently, as long as these sims are correct, which they match Malakath's least demo sims, this is where things need to be, or where things are. And also, for what it's worth, the numbers here, don't look at them completely. I didn't fully optimize every little secondary stat down to a T in these. This is more or less Embellishment Sims. Don't look at the raw damage. That is that. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully the video helped clarify on certain things you maybe wanted to know about Warlock Embellishments and where they're sitting initially. Once again, do not use your sparks. I would not use them until the raid opens, and maybe even later on, because things may change from today, and if they do, you don't want to be stuck with a bad piece of gear or a subpar piece of gear. And who knows, maybe you make boots today for some reason and you get boots day 1 of the raid and you're mad that you have a duplicate essentially of 2 good boots and a bad pair of bracers, or so on and so forth. There's no reason to use it today. It's cool, it's awesome to have around, but just keep in mind, if some people use it today and they're flexing it on you, you can flex on them when the raid opens with a better piece of gear and a better optimized character, and they're optimizing for heroics that give blues that can be soloed at this point. So don't worry about that. If you guys have any week wars or add-ons or links to the sims, are down below in the description. Twitch and Discord as well for the add-ons and week wars and stuff. I'll read for you guys. Before we end the video, one huge shout out, like always, to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Y'all, thank y'all a million times. Like always, I greatly appreciate it. Without that support, I couldn't do what I do for you guys and just, keep going. So thank y'all so much for all support. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're looking at supporting on Patreon, it should be a link up here as well as down below in the description. Like I said, I just want to emphasize that these sims could be wrong. I don't think they are. They've been looked at by a handful of people and they look okay, but once again, could be wrong, may change in certain spots. My neck itches. Could be wrong, may change, possibly change, likely may change. Don't craft anything right now. I don't want you to waste your sparks and feel bad in a few weeks. But at the same time, if you already have used your spark, not the end of the world. You can likely play around it, but just to be safe, don't use it. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. Helps out a ton. I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.